Hello, everybody. Hello, beautiful beings who chose to incarnate with me at this time on planet Earth. My name is Natalie Levin. I am so thrilled and honored to be back on Nadiya Shah's channel for the full moon event of December 7th, 2022. And it's 11:09 p.m. on the East Coast that this full moon is going to be happening. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Nadiya Shah's channel and for being open to hearing my experience of this coming full moon. I invite you to keep in mind that as I'm speaking, I am seeing the chart of this full moon through the veil of my experience in this lifetime. If it doesn't match for you, I invite you to let it go and you get to take what you like and leave the rest about what I say. This full moon in Gemini on December 7th, 2022 at 11:09 p.m. on the East Coast is I did the last full moon video for the full moon eclipse. That was November 8th. And this one also looks very impactful. Oh my goddess. I wonder how you all are doing out there after that full moon eclipse in Taurus that we just had. And now here we go with the full moon in Gemini, and it's going to be conjunct Mars. Oh my God. It's making me laugh because it just looks like so much energy for us to work with. So here's some things that are immediately coming up for me looking at this full moon chart. So here is Mars in Gemini, retrograde. Mars is a planet of action. Mars wants to make things happen. And he is being asked to go backwards in an air sign. And he is fire. And he's like, wait, let's make the brush fire. Let's set the world. I'm going to set the world on fire. And he's being told, no. Hold on there, Mr. Mars. Pause. We need to go a little bit slowly. Slow and steady wins the race backwards. This is like a not fast retrograde situation. He's moving slowly. And at this point, my imagination is he's feeling frustrated and he's going to be conjunct the moon, which is our emotional worlds. And it is this invitation. Our minds want to go really fast and do a lot of processing and bring in information, process the information, then deliver it in a new metabolized form. And there's a backwards energy happening at this time on December 7th for this full moon. And the first thing coming up for me is to invite you to be very mindful on December 7th about if you have words that are bubbling up and you feel like you have to say them right now or write them right now, what would it be like to wait? Perhaps you give yourself 24 to 48 hours before actually writing or saying whatever that is. I have to change my seating position for this full moon because Mars is the planet of aggression. Mars gets things done. Without Martian energy, nothing would get done on planet Earth. So thank you, all of you gorgeous Aries with Mars energy and Scorpios with Mars as their ancient ruling planet. Thank you for choosing to incarnate. However, when Mars retrograde, he's frustrated, he's not in his flow, is next to the moon, our emotional worlds, our words might want to come out as knives. Our words might want to come out as shooting guns. It might be, I am going to purposely harm you with my words. Or it can also be this energy of, this full moon is trying to I don't really understand. I can't quite get a feel as if I'm the moon, this full moon, how do I dialogue with Sagittarian energy in a productive way? Sagittarius is the sun across from the moon on this full moon. And Sagittarian energy is very interested in speaking the truth. It wants to say what it sees as truth, and it can come off as a little blunt because if I'm if I'm embodying Sagittarian energy, maybe I say, oh, wow, you look really exhausted today. Wow. And for me, I'm simply saying what I see. However, for the person receiving it, it hurts. Like, oh my God, I didn't know I looked so rough. Ouch. So I invite you, oh listener, to this video to pause, maybe get like a phlegm in my throat with excitement. Pause before you say anything. Pause before you write that comment or send that text. What would it be like for you to say, I'm going to ask, does what I feel like I have to say, is it going to create value? What am I hoping to achieve by saying whatever I say on this full moon on December 7th? What is my hope and wish? Is it to convince someone of that pepperoni pizza is better than mushroom? Because I'm here, Natalie Levin is here to say, it's not really a time to try to convince someone of your point of view. Is it that, are you trying to communicate something because you want to hurt? And could you notice that about yourself? What would it be like for you to sit in that impulse and see what more bubbles up in the next few days, so that perhaps you don't dive into the more shadow realms of Mars conjunct the moon, and you will have a choice, therefore, to dive into the higher vibrations of these realms. Like, oh, I'm actually going to use my words. I'm going to use this Mars conjunct the moon to write a piece about how angry I am. And it'll just be for me and maybe for the people in my group therapy to hear. Now, I am someone who loves therapy. I love 12-step work. I am in recovery for addiction. I love to write and communicate. And I wonder if you could use this full moon energy to speak your truth with a safe audience, that maybe now's not the time for you to disseminate this information that you feel so strongly about to everyone you know. Like if you write a piece or you're thinking about, or feelings or thoughts are bubbling up during this time around, oh, my family, they're so messed up. Oh gosh, I have to share with everyone, air out all the dirty laundry about my family, and I'm going to publish a piece on social media about it right now. I would say to hold on, again, wait like 24 to 48 hours and see what is bubbling up for you after the moon moves into Taurus. And you might feel like you might not feel like you have to do that kind of cutting knife, gun shooting energy with your words by the time the moon has moved into Taurus. I wonder how that lands with you, what I'm saying. We'll also have this, as this full moon is happening, Jupiter is at the last degrees of Pisces and Neptune is in Pisces, and both of them are direct at this point. This can be an invitation to allow myself to connect even more to spirit. Like, okay, spirit, I'm having a lot of feelings. I want to say a lot of things about them. I'm going to turn it, angels, guides, I give thanks that I'm able to rest in the impulse for the next 48 hours. Angels and guides, I give thanks that I am divinely led and divinely protected, and I am going to, I give thanks, angels and guides, so that I don't have to create harm, create low vibrations here on planet Earth while I'm in this body. You can call on your angels and guides to help you when you're feeling caught up in an impulse. They are there, they want to help, and you have free will, so they will help you when you ask. They usually sort of stay back and watch you otherwise. We have, while this full moon is happening, Pluto is direct, he's moving along, he's about to go to 27 degrees from 26 degrees. And I am witnessing from my clients and in the collective, it is not, a lot of people are having a really hard time. Pluto direct can be a time when a lot of spirits and souls are saying, I'm done now. My contract is up on planet Earth. I'm ready to leave and go back to the infinite, to the galaxies, to the other dimensions from which I come. So I also know that for a lot of people, a lot of emotions are bubbling up, and with all of the Neptunian Pisces energy that we're having, can you allow your tears to come out? Can you let them flow? It is an honor and a privilege to get to feel our feelings when we're in human form here. When we're in our spirit form, we can't actually feel our emotions as profoundly as we can when we have incarnated in human form. So what an opportunity to feel your feelings and possibly not dive into the shadow realms of Piscean energy, which is addiction. I'm a Pisces, so I know those realms well. We'll be continuing to have Uranus and the North Node for all of us conjunct. They're 2 degrees apart at this point, and I would continue to expect surprises and shocks and in the news around. I'll keep it personal. If I'm like walking along and I topple over a boulder in my path, that would not surprise me right now with this Uranus conjunct the North Node. So I invite you to be mindful about when you're driving, if you happen to drive, can you keep in mind that everyone around you is going through this full moon energy as well. They might be distracted. Their minds might be racing with all of this Gemini activity, this movement, this picture, mutable air. It's like, so, the person on the road with me is not necessarily able to pay great attention. So I'm going to summon all my might to focus and actually pay attention and drive defensively as opposed to offensively. And the Uranus is talking, like, it's an irritating conversation at this point on this day with, it's like electricity wants to flow from Uranus, but it's sort of diverted. So it's like there's a broken circuit kind of energy. It's not flowing easily to the sun. The fire sun is also not flowing easily to the Gemini moon. So if you feel irritated or like your clothes are scratchy and you're like, oh, something's itching me, that also would not surprise me. It can manifest emotionally or in your physical body. As one of my main mantras is easy does it, like really easy does it. You are this incredible spirit and soul having a human experience. And this lifetime is a blip that we get to experience on an infinite spectrum of lifetimes. So if you spend some time doing less, I really think that's okay. I think it's okay to be a human being and not a human doing. And I'm now going to talk about where this full moon is going to be landing for each sign of the zodiac. So I am going to pause it for one moment and then I'll be back. For my beautiful Aries friends, if you are an Aries, this full moon conjunct Mars is happening in your 3rd house of communication, neighbors, neighborhoods, siblings. And so especially my beautiful Aries friends who have so much access to your fire, usually your fire and your expression of fire, can you, Aries energy is pure impulse. Aries is the energy of, I see that cliff, I'm gonna jump off it. I don't know how deep the water is below, but I'm still, here I go. So it's going to be an interesting practice for you, Aries sons, to pause during this full moon and say, oh, look at that impulse I'm having to say something or write something, or my mind is going 1 billion miles per minute and I really want to say what it is that's in my mind. And Aries friends, it will expand your energetic container and make you stronger energetically to hold that impulse, to not act on it. What an incredible advanced practice you are being offered with this full moon. Oh my goddess, you get to sit and hold space and say, wow, I really want to say these things. My mind is going really fast. I want to add my fire to the air of the full moon, and Mars, my ruling planet, is involved. And I'm going to sit in the discomfort. It's not necessarily a comfortable experience to hold this kind of tension, Aries friends. I'm going to sit in this discomfort. I'm not going to, maybe I'm not even going to have anything that would lower my inhibition. So I would say not to have alcohol, or like, I don't know if whatever other substances people do that lowers inhibitions, this would be a time to not use those, because those inhibitions actually will be helpful right now to keep you from saying or doing something that you will regret later. So hold the space. Maybe you can envision yourself with a superhero cape, Aries, because you are superheroes. You have the planet, the warrior planet is your ruling planet. And can you say, I am a superhero, and I'm simply going to stay here and hold space for the collective and grow my energetic container stronger and stronger, and be a human being. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to write anything. I am going to simply sit. Or if I write something, maybe I write a giant fiery letter filled with passion and excitement, and I don't send it to anyone. I let it sit on the Word document, on the piece of paper. If you actually use a pen and paper, I'm going to let it sit there, and then I'll check back in a week and read what I wrote and see what that's like. So that is what's coming up for me, Aries friends, about this full moon that's happening on December 7th. Good luck. Good luck with that. And then we have Taurus, beautiful Taurus beings. This full moon for you is happening in your second house, So it feels like, for me, if you are a Taurus sun, that there are themes around money and your sense of your values and your income and your possessions. And you might be having ideas about that. It might be bubbling up for you, like, what do I think and feel about the way money is coming into me? Do I feel like I want to take action, Mars? At some point in the future, it might not happen right now because Mars is retrograde. Do I want to take action and in some way shift the way finances come to me? Do I want, is my feeling space around, I go and I sell the donuts every day. And that's felt really good to me for 10 years. And now I am on this full moon. I'm having imaginations and ideas and fast mercurial thoughts, Tauruses. Mercurial energy is not necessarily unnatural energy for you. So I want to honor that. Like, this is like, whoa, what is this fast moving silver substance that's permeating me as the solid mountain, as the block of cement? What is this incredible fluid silver substance that is moving so quickly? And can I allow it to aerate my super steady Taurean sun? You can fit 1.3 million planet Earths into the sun. So picture that kind of energy, Taurus suns, and then having like this little creature of Mercury going, whee, and there's like a match behind it, which is Mars going, okay, go. And then you're maybe even also able to tune into your sense of truth. Like, is the way I'm selling these donuts not feeling like I'm serving justice by doing this? Am I able to somehow incorporate a new idea? Like, oh, after my shift is over, maybe I'll take the extra donuts and give them to some people who would benefit from having donuts. Like, maybe that's how I serve the justice part of this full moon in Gemini situation. I wonder how that lands with you, my Taurus friends. I wonder how that lands with you. It's an invitation to shake up, give a little earthquake, to create some pockets, nooks and crannies for you, Taurus friends, around your relationship to how you think about the energy of money, which is what we use in the society right now to pay bills, to pay rent, to eat. And maybe there can be an invitation to allow more imagination and more different ways of feeling about money. Like, oh, okay, I've been thinking of it this way, only one way, and now can I allow myself to expand and remember that the universe is abundant. Money is constantly flowing to and through each of us. That is an energy, just like our emotions are constantly flowing to and through us. And I allow my emotions, full moon, moon is the emotional world. Can I allow it to be flexible? Can I allow it to be like light and not fluffy, but like, phew, I have to just keep doing this. As a Taurus, can I allow that energy to come more into my my being so that I can be less caught by the vibration of, if that is part of my story of money, and maybe there's a scarcity mentality that I've been inhabiting. Can I allow this full moon to expand my horizons, expand my consciousness with the sun in Sagittarius, Venus also in Sagittarius, so that I can have more of a wider lens on how I talk, how I think about and relate to my possessions, my home, and my money. I wonder how that lands with you, my Taurus friends. I'm so excited for you to hear what this is like for you, what this full moon feels like. Gemini goddesses and gods, thank you for being here and being the mascots of this full moon in Gemini. Goddess bless you. Thank you. Oh my goodness. It's in your first house. It's the very root of your isness is getting infused with its energy. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm a Gemini. I feel lit up. I feel excited. I don't know what to do with it. What the H do I do with this full moon energy in my first house as a Gemini? Because I might be getting all of these ideas. And at the same time, Mars is retrograde. So I don't know if now is the time to actually take off with them, and it might not be. So what do I do as a fast moving Gemini? I mean, for me, Gemini is the supercomputer brain of the zodiac. When I have people with a lot of Gemini, when I have clients with all these Gemini planets, they usually can do things cerebrally that other people can't. And people are like, how did you do that? And I'm like, I just can't. Everybody? Can't you like listen to something one time and understand it and compute it completely, and then you don't have to study for a test? Like, I feel like when I'm with Gemini people, that is what happens. And it's very remarkable to me. I don't have any planets in Gemini, so I'm fascinated by this ability. Gemini friends, I wonder also if, as this full moon is in your first house, if you start to also possibly see, is it that in your partnerships, maybe, because it will be also talking to your seventh house, would you be interested in taking if you're in a partnership with a long-term relationship, would you and your partner say, hey, we want to learn something new, we want to expand our consciousness, we want to either go on journeys together? It could be an internal journey with the Gemini energy, like maybe I'm going to read a book about past lives. One of my favorite books is my gateway book to learning that we are more than what the 3D is Many Lives, Many Masters, by Dr. Brian Weiss. Maybe you and your partner are like, let's read Many Lives, Many Masters, or listen to it on an Audible book, because, you know, Gemini is both writing and speaking. And maybe you and your partner do that, and it opens up a whole new way of feeling and thinking for you, Gemini sons, about the very basis of your life, like what it means to be you on this planet right now. It feels like a really illuminating full moon for you, Gemini friends. And it is also okay for you to not be able to implement any of the new ideas that might come to you. It's okay for you to allow it all to bubble around and sit, and not actually try to make anything happen right this moment. That would not surprise me. You get to simply learn, process information, metabolize, And then when Mars is direct again, maybe then the ideas that are coming to you are able to suddenly take off. But right now you might need to take a pause, and that's okay. I wonder how that lands for you, my Gemini friends. Hello, beautiful Cancerian sons, archetype of divine mother, invitation to step into both nurturing and being nurtured. This full moon for you, according to me, Natalie Levin. Again, keep in mind that I'm seeing these charts through the veil of my experience in this lifetime. This full moon for you is going to land in your 12th house, the house of faith, the house of how do I connect with spirit? How do I connect with guides? How do I talk with them? Do I have any connection with them? If I'm a Cancer sun, have I been talking to my spirit team that is beyond the 3D? Have I been actually inviting myself to say, hey guys, I need a little help. I give thanks to you all that it can really be something like, I give thanks that I'm able to find a parking spot in the middle of the city. It can be, I hope that I give thanks that I find that last pint of milk. Do people buy pints of milk? If I'm a Cancer sun, this full moon in Gemini is inviting me to start to actually communicate even more with the spirit realm. Can I step into using my words, saying them out loud, writing them down? If I don't actually talk to my spirit guides and angels and my team over there, can I allow my mind to have some fire? Like, here's some Mars. Mars is illuminating this mind energy. Now, I do want to say that Cancer energy and Gemini energy are like right next to each other on the zodiac. So what this means is Cancer, if I'm here, here's me, Gemini, Cancer's over here, and I'm like, I can't quite see you. I can't quite get a feel for you. And if I, and the Gemini, the Cancer energy is saying, I don't really understand you, Gemini. I don't get you. Here's an invitation, Cancerians, to say, okay, I know that this is not really a usual language that I speak, and I'm going to expand myself, expand my horizons, expand my daily routine. Sagittarius is the traveler, and it's across the zodiac for this full moon in the area of the chart that's daily routine. I'm going to expand my thought processes to allow Gemini in. I'm going to allow myself to have a faster moving mind. I'm going to allow myself to have some fire, some Martian energy in my watery realms, even if it just goes, it just makes some steam that Mars and I are talking as a Cancer. It's okay. It's okay. I'm going to take this full moon in Gemini with this catalyst of Mars. And maybe I'm going to go listen to a podcast. I mean, there are these amazing podcasts that you can listen to about, like, one is called A Psychic Story. I was on that one. It has all these different stories of people who are psychic and how they connect in with spirit and who have had awakenings. Like Cancerians, this might be a full moon on which you have some sort of a spiritual awakening. Like, oh my gosh, whoa, I'm getting messages from the divine all of a sudden. And then you might be the person, Cancerians, who starts to communicate what you're hearing, thinking, feeling through speaking to people, through writing. This could be that kind of catalyst. Mars conjunct the moon in Gemini in your 12th house, while Sagittarian fires on the other side. Oh my goddess. I mean, it's pretty exciting. I wonder what is going to be revealed for you, Cancer suns, as this full moon reverberates a little bit into the future and also a little in the past. Maybe you'll notice that you started to become interested in learning more. I mean, the fact that you're even listening to you watch Nadiya Shah's channel and you're listening to this video shows me already that you are awake, you have a spiritual bent, you are curious to know more, you're curious to gather information, that's Gemini, and digest it and metabolize it. And can you also possibly productively harness this energy, Cancerians, to what would it be like for you to record yourself just channeling what's coming through you? Practice, it could be an act as if scenario. I'm going to act as if I am a channel for the divine. I'm going to record myself and see what comes through as if I were an utter and complete connection to source, and see what messages source has for me. These are messages from source to me. Cancerians, I'm getting so excited for this full moon for you because I really wonder what's going to bubble up and out. I'll be so curious to hear in the comments if you feel like sharing. I'm going to pause this for a moment. Beautiful Leos, I love you so much. You contain the energy of 1.3 in the sun. Thank you, Leos, for choosing to come in as Leos and shining your golden amber light upon all of us. God has blessed you all for doing that. Thank you so much. And this full moon in Gemini conjunct Mars is happening for you in the area of your chart that is around groups, communities, and friends. That sounds nice. And it's about communication. I wonder, Lee, I have these Leo clients who are very, very shy because they have other placements in their charts, or their Leo planets are, most of their planets are below the horizon. So that's like, I want to not be in the spotlight. And these are all ways to express Leo energy. And I wonder, oh, Leos, if it feels better for you, if you have if it's comfortable for you to be in communication with people, with your friends in a more introverted way, maybe it's just like, hey, I'm saying hi, thinking of you in a text. Maybe this full moon in Gemini is, oh, who are the people that I feel connected to? Mars is conjunct the moon. I'm going to use my heart-centered, gorgeous Leo energy and reach out to people that I'm thinking of and say, I'm thinking of you. And I'm glad you're in my life. Thank you for staying in your body and staying in my life. It could look like that, this Mars conjunct the moon in Gemini in your house of friends and communities and groups, my Leo friends. It can be also, I'm a Leo, I have this exciting idea. Oh my goddess. I'm like, I have to use some lime oil because I'm excited. And this lime feels like waker upper. Ooh! Splashed all over. Splashed all over. That's okay. Like maybe you put some lime oil on your hands, Leos. Maybe that's why I did that. I had to tell you to use some lime oil or lemon oil. Put it on your hand during this full moon on December 7th. And you're like, oh, I feel awake. I feel alive. I feel like I want to make something happen. And I'm going to do it if it creates value in the world. If I can shine my radiant light in a way that is for the good of humanity. If I'm a Leo and I'm like, I want to go out and show how violent I can be, that is not going to, for me, that will be embodying the shadow side of this full moon in Gemini conjunct Mars. So instead it might be, I'm going to go out and show my physical prowess. Like I'm going to go run through the backyard and jump over the sandbox. And maybe I know that my angels and guides see me. So it might be my community and group. Maybe I videotape myself and then post it somewhere that my friends can see and have delight and joy for my prowess. It's this full moon in Gemini conjunct the moon, conjunct Mars, is also talking in a conversation, Leo friends, with your house of play, your house of fun. It's how do I want to have, what does it feel like to be playful? What does it feel like to embody the energy of the eternal child, Peter Pan. It's opposite your Leo house, your natal house. That didn't make sense, not your natal house, but yeah. Can you let new ideas bubble in for you, Leos, in different ways, new ways that you can have fun, that you can play in groups, that you can play in communities, and that are value creating, as opposed to, it can be, I mean, I have Leo energy, I do, in my chart. So what is it like for me to allow my Leo, let me say it for you. What is it like for you to allow your Leo energy to shine in a way that is also able to allow others in, and not be so much in the spotlight that no one else gets a chance to say, hey, hello, is there room for me? Like the people who, you know, Scorpio people who have Pluto as one of their ruling planets, and Pluto's tinier, and Leo's sun is so big. So can you also allow space for the people in the communities, groups, and friends in your life to be able to share energetic space with you? What does that look like? Can this Mars, can your emotional world adapt? Can it move mercurially to adapt, to allow others in, to allow room for others in the communities and groups area of your chart? I mean, of your life. Your chart is your life. I wonder how that feels for you, Leo friends. Does that resound? I'll be so curious to hear. Thank you so much. Oh, beautiful Virgos, Virgo suns, your amazing ability to be of service, to possibly have laser focus, to be attentive to the next little detail that I have to do. If I'm a Virgo, I'm like working on my shoe, I'm a shoe cobbler, and I'm using the finest leather and the most beautiful thread. And when I'm done, I have this gorgeous shoe that's both exquisite in terms of art and also practical. And your house of your chart, Virgos, that is lit up with this full moon is your career area of your chart. Interesting. So picture, I'm a Virgo, your ruling planet is Mercury. So that's in the mix, it's in the conversation, because this full moon is in Gemini. So I feel like this feels like a helpful full moon for you in terms of career. It's here I am, I'm doing my Virgo, and I'm going along, and I'm being of service, and I'm helping others, and I have a laser focus, and I'm focused on my health, and maybe I work in maybe the way I'm doing my career now gets I have a different feeling about it with this full moon. Do I feel like I want to allow new data into how I'm doing my career? Do I want to be seen in the public eye in a way that allows more fire? Because Virgo is Earth, and we have Mars involved in this full moon. So can I add some fire to my Earth? Can I know Virgo is this shifting Earth energy. It's tectonic plates shifting, or I have sand in my hand and it flows through my fingers. Can I put some bursts of fire in between the tectonic plates? And does something get lit up for me? Does some idea get lit up for me? Mercury. Do I think, oh, I've been working in this hospital as a doctor for 20 years here, and now I'm getting some visions with this full moon in Gemini conjunct Mars of different ways I could be of service, healing others, and it is exciting and creates pockets of new energy in the way I heal others. And with this full moon in Gemini conjunct Mars, I'm going to let it all bubble around for a while until Mars is actually not going to be direct all the way until January 12th. So we have some time to let these ideas, Virgo, bubble around about how do I want to possibly start to implement some shift or change. It might even be, it could look like the way I might want to allow more time for myself to do other things outside of how I pay rent and eat as a Virgo. So because this full moon in Gemini is also talking very loudly, Virgos, to your area of your chart that's around your home. If you happen to have a family, children, your family of origin, your partner, and is it that you want to create more flexibility, Mercury, so that you can spend more time with your people at home? Is it that you want to create more structure because it's been too flexible and you're going to light a fire under your own self to have ideas? How do I make more structure and more boundaries so that my home life and my work life don't bleed into each other so much? Does this make sense, my Virgo sun people? I wonder how this lands for you. I'd love to hear what comes up for you about what I said with this full moon in your career area of your chart. Oh, good luck with that. I'm excited to hear what happens. I'm going to pause it for 1 second. My beautiful Librans, whose ruling planet is Venus. Many of you sing, many of you dance, many of you are artists. I love my Librans, my Libra sons, how beautiful you are. And for you, this full moon in Gemini conjunct Mars is in your area of your chart that is around travel. It's around expanding your consciousness, expanding your horizons. It's running through nature. I picture you Librans like being clad in vines and flowers with this full moon in Gemini and carrying like balloons that have each color balloon has different ideas in them, and you're running through the forest with the fairies and nymphs, like, and you're only wearing vines, and you're like, oh, yes, and you are interested. This full moon ignites for you Librans this interest in justice, and how am I able to be a teacher and or learn or go to school again, or I'm the teacher. Do I want to dive in? Do I have these ideas, this fire with all of this balloon bouquet, that's what it's called, a balloon bouquet behind me of ideas in each balloon, air. And then I'm going to, as I'm running, the balloons are going to pop and the air becomes mutable and it flows. And all these ideas are showering over me, Librans, and you're running through the forest. Oh my gosh. This is very impressionistic, the way I'm describing this energy. I wonder how it lands with you. So Libras, for some more concreteness, I wonder if you are in some sort of life stage and you are wanting to learn more about, like, can I learn how to be a car mechanic? Can I figure out how to be the person who cares for my own car so I don't have to pay $50 billion to another person to do that? This Gemini full moon with Mars conjunct the moon feels like a great time to start to learn something new, something that would be, I'm going to process information. I'm going to gather information, Gemini. Libra is an air sign, so it can talk to this moon. It's like a language that you speak. It's not going to be a foreign language for you, this full moon in Libra. And it is also, I wonder if there's going to be some sort of a lighting up for you, Librans, of if you've ever thought about taking a creative writing class, you actually do it. You're like, I'm inspired. I am ready to jump into that creative writing class. Even if there's a one-day creative writing class, I actually have some suggestions of those, and I have some teachers that I trust that I would recommend. If you're interested, you can reach out to me. This is like, jump into your mercurial talents, Librans. Use this if you happen to be a songwriter, you might feel extra inspired. You might have fire to do this artistic practice of and process of I'm going to allow myself to go backwards and backwards, Mars retrograde, and write some song lyrics and let them be, and then they dissolve, and then they reconstitute, and then they dissolve and reconstitute over and over and over. Because with Mars retrograde, whatever you write at this time you might need to revise it. You might find that I have to do it again, and I have to do it again, and I have to do it again. And that is fine. Can you allow yourself to be sloppy? Can you allow it to be imperfect? There is this full moon in conjunct Mars. It doesn't need to be neat and clean. It's in an area of your chart, Librans, that is not Sagittarius. It's in the 9th house. So it's not about precision. It can be sloppy. It can be expansive. It can be you diving into these inner realms that are not necessarily, it's not like there's a guidebook for these realms that you can explore on this full moon. Maybe you do something like put on a guided meditation when December 7th happens, and you simply lay there or sit and you let this guided meditation take you on a journey. Even if it's like, I'm going to invite myself to relax from the crown of my head to the tips of my toes. And if you can see what that feels like, allow your experience to expand to, if there's some sort of a spark, Mars, of inspiration for learning something new, could you just make a note of that somewhere? And then maybe later explore, oh, I do want to study car mechanicism. That's not, I do want to study that. And then later, when Mars moves into a more solid, not Mars, when the moon moves into Taurus, like in a few days, you actually take concrete Taurus action to explore more. I also think that you might really feel a fire for writing or communicating during this time if you are a Libran. And I invite you also to remember that because Mars is involved when you communicate, Librans, and I know that generally Libra energy is interested in creating harmony, know that your words can come out like bullets or knives. So if you write something or you say something or you want to say something and you're like, I'm not quite sure about that, let it sit. You don't have to say it on the full moon. You can wait a few days. Probably no one's going to die if you wait a few days. I wonder how this lands with you. I'm curious to hear. And thank you so much, Librans, for coming in as Librans, such a beautiful sign. Amazing Scorpio beings who are so potent and powerful. The energy of a waterfall pouring over a cliff for years and years until you reshape the boulders at the base of the waterfall. That's some powerful water, oh Scorpios. This full moon for you is landing in your 8th house. Very exciting. I am excited for the world that it's landing in your 8th house. And what I want to say about this is that you might be having a full moon illumination, if you don't already, of your connection to magic and the occult. You might receive almost like divinations, Scorpios, of, oh, whoa, like I have my own inner Ouija board and someone's pushing the Ouija thing around. It's not me. And I'm getting messages. I'm going to go buy, if I don't already own a tarot deck as a Scorpio, I'm going to go get one. I'm going to start to turn over cards. Even if I don't speak tarot, I'm going to trust that I am receiving the messages I need to receive from spirit through the images, whatever they evoke for me. If I am a Scorpio, this full moon in Gemini conjunct Mars, it's my ruling planet, my ancient ruling planet. So I feel like this is really supportive of me also getting in touch with, I am curious about what is my relation. It could be that you get some information, Scorpios, about an inheritance or other people's money or the way you relate to like, oh, I'm getting some suddenly I'm got a letter saying that Aunt Millie left me $100,000 and I'm like, can claim it. Oh my God, it's so exciting. It could be something like that. And then there's a process, a slow-mo process, again, Mars retrograde, of how do I go about doing the next steps on the computer, Gemini, and getting information and making the next steps happen so that the inheritance comes through and I actually get the money in my hand, other people's money. It is this eclipse, not eclipse, this full moon for you, Scorpios, is also asking you to think about, what is my relationship to money? How do I want to incorporate that energy into my life? Do I want to make a shift? Do I want to be more flexible about my relationship with money? With the full moon in a flexible, mutable air sign, and you Scorpios are fixed water, this can be a new timbre, a new tint to how you relate to the energy of money, to how you relate to, also, I do want to bring up that there's sex is highly involved in this full moon for you Scorpios. I know that your sign is related to sex already, and you might be feeling extra, it could, because sex is, we can talk about it as sexual libido and also creative libido, both on the same, they are both and. So here comes this creative libido that you're having of, oh my gosh, I really want to create something. That's why ultimately our bodies were made to have sex. Like, we are in theory supposed to be making babies, which it's okay if you're not doing that. It's really intense. It's intense to have a child. What I want to say is, you might, Scorpios, your idea about what feels exciting sexually for you you might get like a new flavor or a new taste during this full moon. Like, oh, I always thought that I liked doing that. What would it be like to try that? And that could come up for you right now. I invite you to be prepared to reflect back on it. Like, if you're like, I'm going to try that, and you go and try, like, let's say you go try chocolate ice cream. You're like, oh, wait, let me review that, because it's Gemini. The full moon's in Gemini in your house of sex. So it could be like, I actually am going to revisit that 2 times. It's Gemini. And you're like, well, I'm going to let that go. The chocolate doesn't do it for me. It might be that. So I wonder what, Scorpios, this conversation, sex, death, other people's money, how it flows to me. Can I allow new ideas in? Can I allow myself to be flexible around it? Can I allow myself to have some sort of a spark of, a get up and go around it, while not necessarily taking off and going to the races? Like, right now, I'm going to go eat chocolate ice cream every single day forever. No. Easy does it. Slow down. Come back to the fixed relentlessness of the water pouring over the waterfall for you, Scorpios, and allow that steady energy to also be involved in this full moon in Gemini conjunct Mars. Good luck. Good luck with that. And my beautiful Sagittarians, hello, the energy of starlight sparkling down, the energy of glitter, which I have some on my eyes, the energy of I am the embers in your hand, and you blow them and they sparkle out into the world. Oh my gosh, so beautiful. Sagittarians, this full moon for you, let me make sure, is landing in the 7th house for you. The 7th house of long-term partnerships, contractual relationships, legal contracts. So Sagittarians, it's possible that when this full moon is lighting up for you on December 7th, it's this, I'm in this long-term partnership. Marriage is a construct that society made. It is a contract. So this counts. 7th house, this is where this full moon is. In the in the contract area of relationships for you, Sagittarians. And remember that marriage is created by society to keep the woman's or the male's property in his possession in ancient times. I think that's the story. I might have gotten the story a little wrong, but that's what I believe. So here's this invitation, Sagittarians, to get some new ideas. So I've been in this marriage, this long-term partnership for like 15 years. I'm feeling a little bit like I could use some new energy in it, new wind. And here comes this full moon in Gemini. It's wind, it's actual wind flowing this way and that. Oh my gosh, how exciting. I feel the air. It has Mars, which is fire, spark, catalyst. Oh my gosh, this is exciting. Do my partner and I want to suddenly bring some new ideas or situations into our partnership? Do we want to allow in, hey, honey, I know we've both been like always reading about how to like how to build a table. And that's what we've been reading together, this book, How to Build a Table. And I wonder, why don't we let in some new ideas like learning computer programming? I'm going with that because it's Gemini and Gemini would be about computer programming. Like, what if we partner or person that I'm going to contract with, what if we start to learn how to do computer programming ourselves, and then we can make our own computer program together, you and I partner. It can also be like a partnership, a work partnership. Maybe we can write a computer program that is really helpful serves a bigger purpose. Sagittarius is interested in the big purpose, in the expansive purpose. Can we do something in my one-on-one partnership that feels like it expands out and it grows big enough to help more than just you and me? In doing so, Sagittarians, you also will be doing some transformative work in your root chakra, because that house also is activated by this full moon in Gemini. By allowing this spark in, by allowing this new wind into your being, it might be that you suddenly are like, oh my gosh, something about me feels like it can breathe more. Something about me feels like I have a little fire under it, like at the very base of my isness that I haven't had in a while. Maybe I am feeling inspired. Sagittarians, if you work one-on-one with people, you might feel inspired to bring in new ideas and new ways of seeing things into your sessions. What would that look like for you? Like, oh, maybe here I am. I'm like, let's pretend I'm a Sagittarius and I am the teacher one-on-one. I tutor adults in English as a second language. And maybe but for excitement, I'm like, oh, I also read tarot. So I'm going to bring tarot cards into my sessions and incorporate that in some way into working with my clients as I'm tutoring them. And we can talk about how to spell words and speak these words in English and also see what comes up for them. And maybe spirit will come through as well. This is, I wonder how that lands for you, Sagittarians, to imagine doing something like that as you're inhabiting and embodying your teacher energy. I'll be so curious to read how this lands with you in the comments. Beautiful Capricorns, so elegant, so classy. I love you. You get ish done. My Capricorn clients always pay me. They're like so on the ball. I'm always so impressed. So Capricorn beings of light and love, this full moon in Gemini is landing for you in your 6th house, which is the house of health, the house of your daily routine, the house of how you are of service. And it is inviting you, Capricorns, to be curious about, wow, I have this daily routine. I really like it. It works for me. I'm the goat and I'm climbing the mountain, and I really, I stand on that ledge that's 2 inches wide, and people are like, oh my God, the goat's going to fall, but I don't actually fall. And I keep going and I'm amazing. And I'm also half mer beast. I'm half goat and I'm half mer beast as a Capricorn. Am I allowing spirit in the mer beast realm to come into my life, in my daily life? Do I allow myself to pause and connect with my angels and guides in my daily routine? Do I connect in when I'm feeling like I need, like mentally or physically not great? Do I allow myself to go into the realms of the salty depths as half mer beast and connect with spirit and get some support over there? This full moon in Gemini conjunct Mars might give you some spark or new ideas, allow you to let your mind be flexible so that you can let that in. As a Capricorn, my experience is that it can be challenging to allow yourself to slow down enough to let there be time and space for spirit. So here's an invitation with this full moon in Gemini to allow the wind to blow in. You're the goat, you're the mer beast, here comes some wind. Oh, you go. You literally stop and smell the roses, Capricorns. You stop and smell the roses. You take a moment and you say, oh, okay. How can I allow a brush fire to start that will create some space, like maybe burn away the parts of the crops that I've grown that are getting in the way. They're not really fruitful. They're not serving me well. And instead, I'd like to allow space for me to connect in more or create a pocket of time in my day to connect with spirit. Can I allow the brush fire of the full moon in Gemini to lay bare some of the farmland I've created? 6th house, like Virgo, it's like farmland. What if I burn those crops to the ground and start new and see what else can be created in that vacuum? I don't think this is the easiest practice for you, Capricorn suns, to allow that to happen. Because Capricorn really does get things done. It's a cardinal sign. It wants to, like, here I go. I'm going to do that. Keep going, keep on going. I'm climbing and climbing. And what an interesting opportunity to start to strengthen and flex a different muscle in your chart of a softening and allowing, a letting there be mutability, Gemini. It's also going to be inviting you, Capricorns, to your house of faith is getting activated as well by this full moon in Gemini. So yes, you get to allow, and it's almost like a yin energy. I'm going to softly open, Capricorns, with this full moon. Maybe it's, I'm going to do some reading. I'd rather, I mean, if I were the ruler of the world, Capricorns, it would be more, I'm going to, instead of reading or doing, I would have Capricorn sun people in general for this full moon allow themselves to lie down, reclining, maybe resting in some sort of a restorative yoga pose. Put something over your eyes, like a towel or an eye pillow, and let your mind wander. Just let it do whatever it does without judging it. There's no good or bad. Let it be like for 10 to 15 minutes and see what bubbles up for you. You might simply notice that your mind is so busy thinking of all the tasks that it has to do, that that's what the minutes are filled with. And that's interesting information. It's like your mind is so focused on your being a human doing that it's not allowing you, Capricorns, time to be a human being, which is what you actually are. I feel like if you're a Capricorn sun, you might be like, oh my God, that sounds so not, I don't want to do what she said at all. And that's okay. I'm unattached to whether you do it or not. And that's what's coming up for me with this full moon for you, Capricorns. I'd love to hear how it lands. Oh, my beautiful amazing, brilliant Aquarians. How amazing you are. You're so smart. The genius of the zodiac. I super dig you. I will self-disclose that my Venus is an Aquarius. So I love the unusual. And this full moon for you is in your fun house. That's neat. I'm excited for you, Aquarian sons. How lovely. I would love to see what it's like for you to have some spark or awaken or like fire for play. Aquarians, you've been going through, you've had Saturn in your sign for like 2.5 years-ish, and I imagine, has not been easy to feel like you can have fun. And you've been working really hard, Aquarians. You've been having Uranus squaring Saturn in your sign for so long. So what feels like fun for you as an Aquarius? What's fun? Do you even remember? Do you know? Can you allow this full moon in Gemini to give a little like firework of explosion and excitement of like, I am excited to learn about skydiving. Yes. I'm going to read up on it. I'm going to listen to some podcasts about people who skydive. Oh my gosh. And if I'm an Aquarian, I also am with this full moon. Maybe it's fun for me as an Aquarius to tell people about what's fun for me. So maybe I'm like, I'm gonna make a podcast. I'm gonna start a podcast and see what that's like. I mean, Gemini is communication. You have a fire there. It might feel fun for you. This might be the way it's lining up for you, Aquarians. It might be like, I have so much genius to share with the world. And if I'm going as an Aquarian with my ruling planet being the modern ruler, Uranus, then I am going to make a podcast about the fact that there is no box for me. I don't even have to explode the box. There's no box. So maybe I'm going to go with that and use this Mars energy, fire, conjunct air in an air sign. And I'm an Aquarian. I'm speaking as you, Aquarius. I'm an Aquarius. I am an air sign, so I'm going to use this air. Like air will fuel air, and it's going to blow up my fixed air balloon even bigger. That's what I picture when I picture fixed air. It's a balloon, and it's bigger and bigger, and I have even more ideas and more wisdom, and I'm learning, and I'm so excited. I have the spark of excitement, Mars in my fun house, 5th house, and if I've been thinking about possibly expanding my communities and groups, or I'm curious to meet new people in new realms, maybe this full moon is the catalyst for me to search, okay, online, people who love to skydive, and like go to a meetup with people who skydive so I can hear what it's like for them to skydive, and then I can get even more excited and inspired by their ideas and their words and their communications to me about what it's like to be in their skin when they're skydiving. It doesn't mean I'm actually going to go skydiving as an Aquarian, and it can be like this spark, some sort of fire is lit for you, Aquarians, in the fun area of your chart and hobbies, and you might like, I'm going to go learn how to ballroom dance. Let's do something new. It might just be the idea, and then you spend until January like researching, where's the best classes, where do I want to go, is there a class near me? Then in January you actually sign up and you take action. But right now it's, can I allow these ideas to bubble in and see what comes up for you after they bubble in? I am so curious to hear how this lands with you, Aquarians. I think you're so magical. Oh, Pisces. Oh, Pisces, sisters and brothers and everythings. I am a Pisces. My Mercury's in Pisces. This full moon for us is landing in our 4th house of home, the energy of the theme of the mother, the energy of roots, families, and traditions. And it's inviting us to how do I connect in what are my roots and what feels like tradition to me? What are the roots that feel like home to me? Do I want to continue doing that kind of tradition, those roots? Do I want to make a change? I'm a Pisces. For Pisces, it's mutable. This full moon is mutable. It's allows you are already able, usually, if you're a Pisces sun and have other mutable planets, going with the flow comes easily to you. Can you, maybe this is a moment when you think, you know what, the way I've been doing these traditions that I learned growing up, it doesn't fit me anymore. I am ready to change the tides, change the wind in, like, maybe I've always been doing, I love to have a fake Christmas tree. And maybe this year I'm like, I don't even want a Christmas tree. I'm just gonna light a whole bunch of lights around my, in my living room, and then put up some ornaments, and it'll be like a living Christmas tree, because I'm in the room, in the space, and I don't actually have to get a tree into the house. It could be something like that if you celebrate Christmas. It can be, it might also be for you Pisces, if you grow up in a family and you have this interesting way of doing things that you're like, why do I do this? Why do I feel like I have to go out at 5 o'clock every day and get like a cup of tea? What is that about? And you start to become curious, and this Gemini full moon can act as an illumination to get a fire under your tush tush to get more information. Like, did Aunt Bessie like to go out every day at 5 and get a cup of tea? Is that something I learned as a should? Am I shoulding on myself? And can I allow myself to let go of those traditions and that are no longer serving me? I mean, I'm using a very benign tradition here. You can put in whatever works for you in terms of, like, maybe did Aunt Bessie like to go out and flip herself a Mickey every day at 5? It could be like that. You get to have a new way of thinking about things, Pisces. You get to have a new way of seeing things in the way you grew up with this full moon. You get to go and get a book about what was it like? What happens to people who are grandchildren of alcoholics? What ways of surviving did I learn or inherit because I'm a grandchild of an alcoholic? I'm going to do some reading about that. I'm going to get some information, Gemini. I'm going to have some energy for Mars learning. And when I do this kind of work on my roots, the way I am in the public eye also transforms and expands. So this is also affecting your 10th house, Piscean, which is you in the public eye, you in your career. So as you do this deep work that's being offered with this full moon in Gemini, I invite you to know that if let's say you work in an office and there is a man there, that when you see that man, you always have a really strong body reaction of trembling and fear. As you start to do this work of awakening, revealing with this full moon on December 7th in Gemini, in your 4th house, you might also notice, oh my gosh, that man, his energy reminds me of Uncle Bill. He scared the poop out of me. It could be like that. And then you get to have more mastery over yourself in your public eye area of your chart, in your career, so that that man at your job is not actually Uncle Bill. You get to start to allow that consciousness in, oh wait, he's not my uncle. I'm just having a body memory. It's not my uncle. I'm actually safe here. I'm safe. So it could look like that. It's pretty profound the way this full moon is landing for you, my Gemini friends. And I cheer you on for doing this outrageously incredible work. And I thank you all so much, every single zodiac sign who's here, all of you. I thank you, Nadiya Shah, for letting me be a guest on your channel. It is such a thrill, an honor, and a privilege to get to be on your channel. And if you all are curious to know more about me, you may subscribe. I have my channel is Natalie Levin Astrology. You may find me at natalielevinastrology.com. And if you want to work with me, you may book with me there. I am on Facebook at Natalie Levin and Instagram at Natalie Levin Astrology. And I am so thrilled to be on planet Earth with you all at this wild time. Thank you all so much. I can't wait to hear and read what it's like to receive my transmission via this video, and I look forward to reading and seeing all your comments. Thank you so much.